there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Lauren from Goldthread, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome Kaylene and Lauren from Goldthread, alternative rock, dark pop, female-fronted band based in Cleveland, Ohio. Goldthread has released their debut EP, Dear Icarus. This EP has been released independently. Also, check out single Tiffany Skylight. That's all out right now. So, ladies, how you doing? And welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem whatsoever. So, how you guys been doing? And especially with all this pandemic and finally getting this EP out, how you guys been doing through all this?
Oh, man, the pandemic has definitely been a curveball. I think anybody in the music industry would agree with that.
I think it's a little bit of an understatement. It's been hard on everybody, but I think being able to release music and have something to look forward to, that's been kind of one of the only saving graces that we have, right? Like,
oh yeah, for sure. And we've kind of sat on a lot of the songs for a while now, like we finished recording them right before the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
So after like a year and nothing really looked like it was gonna let up, we were like, we just got to release it. Like there's no point in holding on to it. And, we love the song so much that we were like, we can't sit here and wait until this never ending pandemic is gone.
That was going to be one of my questions. This EP was released in 2021. So how difficult was it to set on these songs and be like, let's just get this shit out there and be done with it?
Oh, it was rough. It was just hard too, because like we have so many good memories of like preparing all this music. And one of the last things that we did before everything shut down was we filmed the Tiffany Skylight music video in Chicago with one of our friends, and it was amazing. And then to just sit with that.
Yeah. And then like a month later, the world shut down.
Yeah.
So it was like the last, cool thing that we did was travel to film that music video, and then nothing.
That's how we brought 2020 in. And then, and then everything just boom. But it's good to see that people still care, I guess. Like that's a big thing. And I think more than ever, people need an outlet, and people need music and therapy and all sorts of stuff. So we're just happy to have that to share, I guess. So.
And it's like I've talked with many musicians when all this hit, they've told me that they've got multiple albums and EPs to release. And I've said this many times, I sound like a broken record, but it's going to be very interesting to see if all of this actually comes out, to see where everybody's mind frame is compared to, say, 5 years down the road when hopefully everything's back to normal.
Yeah, definitely a time and place thing. I mean, Haley Williams for her Flowers for Vases record, having all of that recorded by herself, all of that, all the instrumentation, all that music written. I think that was a really cool example of like what people did with all this time and all this negativity, and she was able to produce something really beautiful. So I think that's been what we've been trying to do. Not always successful, but like
no. But I do think that at least I've been paying attention more to the lyrical content of what people have been releasing in the past year. And I think everybody has had a rough time with the pandemic, like you can just tell based on what they're writing and the lyrics and the songs that I've been listening to, that everybody has struggled with that first part of quarantine and isolation and solitude and being alone with your thoughts.
It's like everybody's going to have to learn how to adapt again when you are actually out and meeting people again. And
yeah, it's weird. The social fatigue is so fast now. But I also think it helps connect everybody, because like sometimes I feel like the crazy one for being like, no, I'm still having a rough time out here with this. But I think the more people are able to say, actually, you know what, me too, this is hard, you know, and I think music is one of the best ways we have to be able to say that and connect through it. So, yeah.
How did this band come together? Let's talk about that.
Oh man, well,
I'm gonna date myself here.
Oh gosh, no, don't say it.
We were friends in high school, and that was a while ago for me. So
you said no.
I know I'm turning 29 this year.
No. People don't need to know that.
Woof, I feel the wrinkles. I feel it. I feel my age.
29 is nothing compared to 42. Okay.
Just it's getting to me. But yeah, we were friends in high school, and I was already kind of in a band at that point, and we had done this like little music group project thing for a couple weeks in school, and then we just kind of stayed friends after that. And then Kaylene hit me up a couple years later to be like, hey, remember that one time we were in a band? Do you want to like do that again? And I was like, no. And she kind of beat my door down a little bit, and here we are. Rest is history. So, right? Am I missing anything?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
How excited are you two to have this debut EP, Dear Icarus, out right now, though? How excited are you guys to have this finally out and be done with it?
It's a good feeling. It really is.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of, I don't know, like a lot of emotion that went into that record, and all of the songs were very meaningful to us. And, you know, we kind of took that record as a starting over point. And it's just interesting to finally be able to release it and see it all come together and see everything come full circle.
Were you guys a little nervous at all to let this out or no?
I think anytime you release something, it's really scary.
Yeah.
You know, like you're putting a piece of your soul out there, you know, and it's from the lyrics to the instruments to just the composition of the song. And I think we always try to tell stories with our music, and you never really know how well it's going to be received. So Tiffany Skylight is about someone that killed their whole family.
It's not really great subject material.
No, but actually it seems to be the one that everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's so messed up. And that's so cool that you wrote a song about it.
Hey, it's a horror song. There you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
What made Tiffany Skylight the first track off this EP to be released? What was it about it that you guys said, yeah, hands down, this is the one we need to put out first?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of interesting because I think this and Legacy were kind of the ones that we picked as singles. And I think both of them have especially because we were starting over with a band, we wanted it to be like kind of the best foot forward songs, is not just in terms of like, these are the best ones we've written, but in terms of what vibe we're trying to have and what genre we're trying to lean into, and, you know, what we want to be important. So like we picked the songs that were the most synth heavy, and we picked the ones that I like the guitar riffs the best, you know? So Tiffany Skylight, I think, is an example of where we're trying to head as far as how heavy we'd like to go, as far as like how much guitar and distortion and how that's all going to play together. So that was a huge, I think, a driving factor for why we picked it. So
yeah.
And I just like it.
That always helps.
Yeah, it helps.
Are you guys looking to be a little heavier? Is this the direction that you want to go with this band, or just see how it goes moving forward?
Well, see, we're very opposite when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I really like heavy music and you tend to like things that are a little bit lighter. And I think each song kind of takes its own emotion and its own drive and its own vibe and stuff. So I think wherever we land is kind of in the middle of what we both want.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the dynamics of how we write too, is, you know, she's constantly pulling me to be a little bit heavier, and I'm constantly pulling her to be like, well, what if we just like weave this really pretty light piano riff in here? And that, you know, the combination of both those worlds, I think, is what gives us like that Goldthread sound.
Mm-hmm.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the EP? I know it must change every time you listen to it. I know these are your babies, but are there any that stand out for each of you possibly?
Oh man, yeah, that's someone who's heard the "You're asking me to pick my favorite child" line a bunch of times.
There can only be one. No, just kidding.
I mean, I know my favorite. Do you know what?
I think I'm the most surprised that Phoenix came out of us, because it's the most interesting, I think, in terms of musical direction, and I think we let ourselves be really vulnerable. And every time I hear it, I'm like, ooh, we went in. All right. Like that.
Yeah, that's I was going to say Phoenix too. It's not one that we really have done a lot of heavy press on, or, really tried to push that much, because it's like a 5-minute song, or like a 5.5-minute song, or something really long. And it's really slow for the first half. And then there's like this big post-rocky build at the end, but it's like kind of the emotional like cap at the end of the album. And as someone who likes slower, post-rocky, vibey things, I'm all about that song.
Yeah.
So would you say that's the surprise track off the album for the both of you?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Any tracks that didn't make this EP we can see on another EP, or maybe a full length down the road, possibly? Did any didn't make this, maybe?
Oh, so many. I think we ended up cutting 3 tracks, two or three, at least two or
Sorry,
three.
I have to dig back in the memory bank.
At least 2 or 3, but I mean, we constantly, we have like dozens of demos that are half finished that might find their way onto something at some point. It's like, it's a constant balancing act of what we're gonna do.
I think we have a bad habit of starting an idea and then not seeing it through to the end. So we have lots of starts that will eventually, hopefully, be finished and give it its right context. But also, Phoenix was a song that we wrote 6 years ago, and then we're finally able to finish, I think, like a week before we went back into the studio. So sometimes things need to like marinate a little bit, so.
Yeah, I find it cool that bands have songs like that. I've known bands that's had songs for 17 plus years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, okay, this song has been, that long waiting to be put out. And I'm going, damn, how did they fit it now compared to like, say, 5-6 years ago and not then? I mean, I don't see how. But it's so cool to hear those stories about that, because it always interests me on how this came about, where this came from, and things like that. But 17 plus years, I'm like, damn, that's a
long time.
That's crazy. But I think the craziest one that I've heard is that one Fall Out Boy song that was, I can't remember the name of it for some reason.
I mean, all of the Fall Out Boy song names are
I know, but it's like one of the newer ones that was like really played on the radio for a while, like very like poppy almost. I can't remember the name of it.
You can't give me anything other than
it was supposed to have been. No, it's on the Rock Band Live.
My song, So What You Did in the Dark?
Yes, that one.
That's how did you forget the name of it?
I don't know, but that song sounds very different from what they've done in the past, but apparently they wrote it like 10 years ago or like 15 years ago. Like that just like blows my mind, because it doesn't sound like anything off the albums that they were releasing 10 or 15 years ago.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Was there a track that you both were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to when it was first brought to the table? Was there one song that just like totally changed its formation?
Tiffany Skylight. Yeah. we struggled with that with Tiffany Skylight for a long time. The first iteration of it was really heavy, like too heavy, just
almost like radio rock heavy, like
heavy.
Kind of weird. Like it took a weird direction, and there was like this riff that we were trying to make work, and it was like and it was just like not
so
working.
Fast for the song.
Like I couldn't play it. I was like,
it was like blast beats fast, and I think we spent like a whole day in the studio working on it. We came out of there and we were like, I don't know if that's the vibe.
I don't like this. So I think we ended up scrapping all of it.
Oh, the whole thing got scrapped. Yeah.
And then there was supposed to be like a solo thingy in the second verse that we ended
I don't even remember that.
Exactly. But I remember because I was trying to play it.
You're trying to play it,
yeah. It just ended up totally different, and I'm so much happier with how it turned out. So
it's like, we're not supposed to sound death metal. We're supposed to no. I was working with producer Phoenix Arnhorn. I hope I pronounced his name correct or their name correctly.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
How was
Yeah.
working with him?
Oh man. So I don't know if you want to kick that one off.
Go for it. What are you saying? Go for it.
It was just fantastic. Like, she is so brilliant, and she really only got into the production. She really only got into the production side like a couple years ago, like kind of at the beginning of the pandemic, I think. I might be speaking out of turn too, because I do not.
I think that's when they really got into like the true production value of it, and that's something that they did with their current project, was basically make it all bedroom mixes and everything, and I think it works really, really well. But I don't know, more than anything, I just like Phoenix is one of the best people I know as far as just like being a kind human. So like having that kind of positivity instead of being like, oh, we only have 8 hours to work here, we got to do this now. It was just a completely different setting.
And just so brilliant in capturing the vibe that you're trying to go for in a track and knowing exactly what you're trying to do and help the track get there.
Working with her on this though, did she push you guys to say like, I mean, to get out of you what she wanted, because you want to work with somebody who cares about what they're putting out there, especially what you want to put out there.
Of course, yeah.
But did she get exactly what she needed out of you all? Did you find anything different about yourselves that she brought out maybe?
I think so. And I think her being so, what's the way to put this? It's like, instead of being like, some people look at it from an aspect of like pressure makes diamonds. So if you put an artist under enough pressure, eventually they'll give you the take you want, right? Her approach is the exact opposite of that. So like, for example, in Tiffany Skylight, there's a little riffy in there in like the second verse. So it's like a dun, 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 and I couldn't play it to save my life. But she was like, okay, well, let's find a way to make that work for you. So we literally started saying, I like watermelon, like along the track, because it was the right like timing and cadence and everything. And I got it in like 2 takes. So she's so good about like being able to draw that out of you in the best way. So I can't speak highly enough. Yeah. So
I've seen sometimes where that backfires and a band just gets burnt out on that song or just making that album period. And you could tell. You can absolutely tell. It's like, God, this is freaking rushed, or they didn't give a shit.
Yeah. And being in the studio is already like, you're under a microscope. You need like the perfect take, because this is the one chance that you have. So it can be so easy to make that a negative thing. So it's hard too when you're releasing music, because like we've heard the songs dozens upon dozens and dozens of iterations. So it's easy to get frustrated.
Yeah.
So I think she did a really good job of keeping us from getting to that point. So
yeah, for sure.
Is it harder now for bands to have their music discovered versus say pre-pandemic, because there's so much music that's out there right now, so much saturation? Are you guys a little nervous? I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but to put your music out there to actually be discovered or to have multiple people to hear it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I don't know if, pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, it's any different, but I do know, like, especially within the last 10 years, you have so many people that can just buy an interface and buy some plugins and they can make things sound so good just from a bedroom studio, like they don't need access to hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment anymore. It's
you
more
can learn
just
how to do stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, you can learn how to mix and engineer on YouTube and get a really decent sounding product, and no one would ever guess that you just recorded it all, like in a bedroom or something. And I think that leads to more people are releasing music. You do have way more people that can release music independently, and I think it's kind of good and bad. There's more like competition, so to speak, but there's also so much more talent that gets to be able to be discovered, and so much more good music that people get to listen to that wouldn't have been possible before.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, if you have an authentic product and it's your authentic voice, someone is going to like that and someone's going to relate to that. And the fact that we have so many people to choose from, like that's that's
like,
ultimately a
there's
good thing.
So much inspiration out there.
Yeah.
Have you thought about taking advantage of the streaming, like the live streaming, like on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook for you all? Have you thought about that? Have you done it possibly?
We did a live stream show with Courage My Love when everything kind of first shut down. They did like a live stream series, and I thought that was a really good idea. Some of those platforms are kind of difficult to get. Like, I know TikTok, you have to have like 1,000 followers in order to do a live stream.
Really? I didn't even know that.
But I mean, I think that's a totally viable avenue to be able to do that kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
What's your thoughts on touring and going out on the road possibly? Are you wanting to take this out on the road eventually?
I love touring. I think it'd be great. It can be a very frustrating thing if, like, one time we went out on a tour with our previous project and the booking agent didn't book anything. So we would show up at the venue and they'd be like, sorry, who are you? And we'd be like, we drove 11 hours to be here. Like, what do you mean you don't know who I am? So,
oh my
we've had some interesting. No, you don't know who I am.
You don't know who I am, but like, no, like I was supposed to be booked to play here. Like,
oh yeah,
oh
we've had
God
experiences for sure. I mean, we both love touring and being out on the road. It's, it's kind of a political game, but that's kind of the next step is building things back up after the pandemic to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense to finally hit the road and tour and stuff.
But to show up, like she said, and get to the venue and they'd be like, who are you? I would be so pissed. I would be absolutely pissed.
Yeah, I don't think we haven't worked with that booking agent again. We showed up at one place and they were like, yeah, I mean, there's an open mic tonight. Is that what you're talking about? And we were like,
oh my
I guess. Let's play this open mic. Let's do it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Nope. No more. Nay.
Yeah.
Jeez. My God. What does Goldthread bring to the table for music that other bands might not, if anything, possibly?
what's the secret sauce?
What's the secret sauce?
What's the secret sauce?
I mean, we've talked a lot about the authenticity of our music and like I mentioned, just the storytelling piece of it. I think that we really try to go beyond just a shallow pop song or shallow lyrics. Like, we really try to write things that people will connect with and things that are meaningful to us.
Yeah.
What do you both hope everyone takes away while listening to this new single or the debut EP, Dear Icarus, in general? What do you hope they get from it, possibly, if anything?
I'm stewing on that. Go ahead.
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, like, if anybody out there connects with any piece of it, then I'm happy, whether it's the instrumentation or the vocals or the lyrics or one dumb guitar riff that we did in a bridge somewhere. Like, if there's any piece of it that someone listens to and is like, dang, I really like that, or I really I want to listen to more of that, then that's kind of a win in my book. And I think the past couple of years, we've really redefined what songwriting is to us and what we want, because there was a short period of time where we were writing things that we thought people wanted to hear. And it just led to really, I don't know, like corny stuff almost. It just, because it didn't mean anything to us.
It just didn't feel right, I guess. Like, there's something just not genuine about it.
Yeah. So I think really leaning into that genuine aspect of songwriting. If anybody connects with it on any level, then I'm happy, because it means that they've connected with a piece of what we created and authentically meant to put out into the world.
I know you both have a lot of music, because I still have a lot of music ever since I was a wee little bitty lad. Do you still have a go-to album, or maybe just a song that you find yourselves going back to and listening to from time to time that you just can't kick out of your player, man, that you got to go back and listen to? It has to be listened to.
I mean,
what do you got?
I got all sorts of things that
I still jam a lot from things I used to listen to. Like anything The Fray holds up.
Yeah.
Safety Suit has one album that I will constantly go back to.
Yeah.
Just because the whole thing, like front to like end, is just perfect.
Yeah. I think that Bring Me the Horizons little EP that they put out with the post-human survival horror, I think captured every phase when we started the pandemic, and every single track I'm like, yep, zombies, yep. Like, so I feel like going forward, that's going to be the one where if I play it, I'm like, oh yeah, you remember that one time, and then listen through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I gotta ask both of you, who's been some of your musical influences, be it female, male, whatever. Who's been some of your biggest influences that sparked you guys to say, I want to be a musician, or I even want to go down that line to try it, because it's difficult. You both know that just as well as I do. But who's been some of your influences so far?
I think it might sound weird because, our professional relationship with Soft Cult and everything, that we've gotten to work with them and you go to their studio and everything. But I think the coolest part about them is that we met them years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago. So like we've kind of gotten to grow with them a little bit. And like the first time we ever met them, they were like, oh my God, I love your music. Oh my God. And like we got to like connect and stuff. So like I look up to them a ton.
Yeah.
As far as like the big time,
big time guys.
I think Amy Lee was the first person I ever heard where I was like, oh, you're writing about dark stuff. Ooh, I like this. This understands my emotions.
Your emotions.
So I think that was the first time I ever like really connected with something and wanted to capture that. So what about you?
Man, so many. Like I just love songwriting and like the art of making a song. And like Nothing But Thieves right now is
they're a repeat band.
Like, oh yeah, like it's like 80% of what I listen to is
very
Nothing But
true.
Thieves.
Very true.
Moral Panic is just
so
Chef
good.
Kiss.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, honestly, they're like mainly what I jam now is Nothing But Thieves. But I love so much music. It's so hard to narrow down influences because I feel like I'm just influenced by like everything that I listen to. I hear one piece of it and I'm like, that's a really cool part.
Yeah.
Kaylene and Lauren, how can folks stay in touch with you both and buy this new debut EP, Dear Icarus, the single Tiffany Skylight? How can they do that? How can they stay in touch with you both?
We got all the socials, like all the cool kids. Instagram, Spotify has our EP out.
Started posting things on TikTok.
Yeah, to be like the youths. We got a TikTok, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. We're around. Yeah.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, I can do this. I got this. All right. This is Lauren from Goldthread, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link. And please, folks, subscribe to the YouTube link because I'm only 4 subs away from 700. I should have more than that. But anyway, I'm not going to bitch about that right now anyway. Go subscribe to it. Go subscribe. Please check out Goldthread. Check out their single Tiffany Skylight and their debut EP, Dear Icarus. Give these ladies a chance. You won't be disappointed. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. And Kaylee and Lauren, thank you so much for doing this interview with me this evening.
Thank you. Pleasure's all ours.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.